Hey guys, what's going on? Today, you're in luck. We're going to start a brand new series, Java for Beginners. So if you've never programmed before, but you've always wanted to, you're in the right place. So the first thing we're going to need to do is install our code editor. And we're going to install something called Eclipse. So go to Google and type in Eclipse. And Eclipse is a very popular Java code editor. So click on this guy at the top, eclipse.org. And then you should see a page like this. And scroll down and find the downloads link. So I'm clicking on this one here, just download. And then I guess I'll click download again. Now I've already installed this, so I won't do it again, but you guys can go ahead and install that. And then once you've installed it, go and click on the file that you installed. So in my downloads, I saved it to, I've got this Eclipse installer. So click on that, and you should see a window like this appear. And then after a couple of seconds, you'll hopefully see the actual Eclipse installer. Now the Eclipse installer has a couple of different options, and all these is it just sets you up with different settings depending on what you want to do. So maybe you want to work with C++ a lot, and you might want to select this one, but we're going to go ahead and select this top one, which is a good starting point, especially if you don't know what you're going to be doing yet. So click on that top one, and then I'm seeing an error at the top, but that's just because I've already installed this previously, and the directory I installed it to previously doesn't exist anymore, so you guys probably won't see this. But anyway, click on this guy right here, this folder icon, and this is going to ask you to specify where you want to install Eclipse. So in my case, I'll go to Applications and then select that. But I've already installed it, so I won't do it again. But you guys can choose Applications or wherever you want to save it to and install it. So once you've installed it, you want to go ahead and open that up. So in my Applications, in my case, I'm going to go and find Eclipse, which is right here. And then after a couple of seconds, you'll hopefully see the application start. And you're probably going to see this window appear asking you to select a workspace. And a workspace, all that is where you want to save your project files to. So if you want to, click Browse, and then go to Documents. That's a good place to save it. And then we'll create a new folder, and this is just going to be Eclipse Workspace, just like that. And then press Enter. Of course, you're free to save this wherever you want, but I'm going to save it in Documents. I'm going to create a new folder called Eclipse Workspace, and then click Open, and I'm choosing that as my location. So go ahead and click Launch, and that will then finish setting up and then open the actual Eclipse editor. So here we are, Eclipse has started, and we're getting this welcome screen. I don't want to see this again, so I'm going to uncheck this, and then in the top left, click on that tab, X, and we close that welcome screen down. And I'll make this a little bit bigger for you. Now, we're going to go through this environment as we move through the video, so I'm not going to explain what all parts of this do, but for now, all we're going to do is create a new project. So go to File at the top here, New, and then select Java Project. Like I said, we'll explain all this environment as we progress through this series. So in the project name text box, you want to write, you guessed it, the name of your project. In my case, I'll just call it Basic Project, or you can call it whatever you want, My Project or something like that. But then go ahead and click Finish. You don't have to do anything else here. So this is it. We've created our Java project. Great. Now all we're going to do is add some code to this. And the way we do that is we first want to add a class. And I'll explain what classes are later on. But for now, just go and click this button up here, this Add New Class. Or you can click on File, New, and then select Class. Either of those two work. So we see this window appear. And name, again, you guessed it, is the name of the class. So I'll call this my class, just like that. And then we want to check this checkbox here, this public static void main. And the reason we want to check that is because public static void main, this is the function which our application starts with. Now, don't worry, I'm not expecting you to understand that. And I will explain that, like other things, as we move through the course. But for now, we're just setting up the basics. So go ahead and click Finish. So name your class, check that checkbox, and then click Finish. So we see this appear. This is our class. You see my class or whatever you named it up here. And you'll also see this, the public static void main. And you see this because you check that checkbox. And like I said before, this is just the start point to your application. So this function here is just the application or the program's start point. That's all you need to know for now. You can ignore this string args stuff. You don't need to know what that means yet. All you need to know at this point is just this is the first thing that happens when your program starts. So in there, you just write any code you want. So we're going to start out and just write a real simple program. This is going to be our hello world, and a hello world is usually the thing that people do when they start out with a new programming language or something. So this is going to be our hello world application. And all we're going to do is just output the message, hello world. So the way we print strings or text in Java is by saying system.out.println. That's print ln. And then in the parentheses, these brackets right here, just put whatever text you want to print out. And when you print text in most programming languages, you have to put them inside double quotes. So these double quotes right here. So we can just write hello world, just like that. Okay, and at the end of that line, we need to put a semicolon. Most programming languages require you to put semicolons at the end of the lines you write. Not every line needs a semicolon. You'll notice these ones don't have one, but most of them do. So I'll explain more about when we do need semicolons and when we don't later on. But for now, just make sure you have this, and also make sure there's an uppercase S on the system, okay? The rest of it's lowercase, but this is an uppercase S. Now, we're ready to run this. So we can go ahead and click this button up here, this play button, it looks like. It's actually a run button, and this will execute this program. So click on that. And because I didn't save this before I clicked run, it's asking me if I want to save it. And we always want to save it before we click run. So I'm going to check on this checkbox and make sure it will always save if I click run and I forget to save it again. So click OK. And then down here you see the output of our program. So we just wrote our first program, hello world, and all our program does is print the string hello world. So good job, that's our first program. So not the most interesting of programs, but it's a good start point, and it's where pretty much everybody starts, printing a simple message. So you're starting in the right way. Now we can move on to some more interesting stuff.